Hi, welcome back to my kitchen table. I'm Rachel. Today we're going to be making one of my favorites from my childhood. It's called chicken and zucchini. I have taken this recipe on from my mom and have turned it into one of my family's favorites. I have my electric skillet heating up, and I'm going to put about a tablespoon of vegetable oil in the skillet. I'm going to let that heat up for just a second. It shouldn't take long since I've got my, I've had my skillet kind of, okay. So while that's heating up, I've got my cubed raw chicken. I have got it seasoned with salt and pepper, and I'm going to add that to the pan because I want to brown that off first. So I'm just going to take my spoon and push all that in. Oh yeah, that skillet's ready. All right, and as with an electric skillet, you guys will notice that your burner will go on and off depending upon how hot you have it, so it maintains that heat source only, or that heat temp only. While this is browning, because that's all we're going to do with this chicken for right now is just brown it, I have got a 28-ounce can of San Marzano whole peeled tomatoes. And I have got one 14.5-ounce can of stewed tomatoes with the Italian seasonings. The original recipe calls for 2 cans of stewed tomatoes with the Italian seasonings, but I wanted to try a little something different because ultimately you're going to get the same result, but I just wanted a better sauce to go with it. I'm using San Marzano tomatoes is one of the best things you can do because they are delicious. Please make sure when you buy them that you have, there is the certified Italian seal on. So Cento is a good brand. That's what I am using. San Marzano tomatoes, and they are certified from Italy. And those are the San Marzano tomatoes only grow in one region of Italy, which is called San Marzano. So make sure you do look for that. You want to just go ahead, you can put them together, and the stewed tomatoes and the San Marzano crushed. That's all you're looking for, is just them to be crushed, and add a little bit of extra juice in there, or, well, I guess it would be juice for now. We haven't made the sauce just yet. What you'll need is 1 yellow onion, or any kind of onion you like. It's probably best if it's white or yellow, or a sweet onion, but no red. The red onions don't really make much sense in this dish, so diced, not finely diced, just diced in about 1/2-inch cubes. You want to take about 16 ounces, or well, I think I used 8 ounces of white button mushrooms. You want them sliced. To make sure to cut those stems off. And we're going to have about 1.5 tablespoons of Italian seasonings. That looks like a little bit more than 1.5 tablespoons. Maybe 2 tablespoons. For me, the more the merrier. And then you want 2 cloves of minced garlic. These are your ingredients for the sauce. And then of course your chicken breast. And we took about 3 chicken breasts and kind of sliced them into strips and then cubed them until browned on both sides for flavor. In addition to the chicken and zucchini, I want to make 2 different salads. One I want for a appetizer salad, and that is one of my absolute favorites. I don't know if you guys have ever had a Caprese salad. If you have, I mean, they're kind of popular, right? And then I want to make a Frisee salad. It's going to be a minimalist salad, and I am going to take some herbs from my garden and some oil and some lemon juice, and I'm going to make us a homemade dressing. And these dressings are so simple to make, you guys. Ingredients, it just takes a few. So that is all coming up soon. Okay, these are brown, so I'm going to remove them from the pan now. I'm going to put about another tablespoon of oil in the pan because the chicken has fully absorbed the rest of it. The little brown bits scraped up just a tad. We're going to have the tomatoes get the rest of that up later. So right now I'm going to add my 1 onion into the pan. I kind of stir it around, coat it a little bit with the oil. I'm going to let these go ahead and brown for just a couple of minutes before I add the, now that the onions have cooked for just a couple of minutes and kind of cooked down. Now these electric skillets cook fast, which is kind of nice. So I'm adding the mushrooms now because these onions are translucent at this point, and literally they've only been going for just a couple of minutes. So get dinner going. All right, and what I'm going to do with these mushrooms is I'm just going to let them kind of brown, get incorporated with all the oil, and then I'm going to let them brown and wilt just a tad, or cook down. I guess not wilt. Wilt's not the word, but cook down a little bit, and then we'll be ready to do the next step. All right, this is where I want my onions and my mushrooms. And now I'm going to take the garlic, put it right in the center, just so that it blooms. And when you smell that garlic, it's time to work it in. Okay. So now we're ready to go ahead and add the seasonings. I'm going to add salt and pepper. So I'm going to add salt first, just a little bit, because remember your tomatoes are loaded with salt. And then the pepper. And I'm going to stir that around. And now it's time for the tomatoes. These are our tomatoes, and they're about to go in and start our sauce. Okay. There we go. Okay, and to this I'm going to go ahead and add about a tablespoon of tomato paste just to start, and I'm going to work that in. And then, so your tomato paste is going to be your thickening agent for your sauce, but I still want to go ahead and add a little bit of water to it. So I'm going to add the whole thing. So I've added a full cup of water to the pan with the tomatoes and the tomato paste, as well as our vegetables. And I'm just kind of scooping up all of that, scraping up rather, all of the fond as we call it, just to get that flavor off of the bottom of the pan and into the food. And the very last thing that I'm going to do before I cover this and let it simmer is I'm going to put the seasonings in. Oh, I got to put the chicken back. Almost missed that. All right, so I'm going to take the 2 tablespoons or so. I'm going to just dump it in there. And I'm going to dump it in, so taste it. Now I'm going to go ahead and add back the chicken and all of the juices from that chicken because that is flavor. A little bit. I'm going to cover it, and this is going to cook for 45 minutes, and then we will add the zucchini at that point. Caprese salad is so delicious and just amazing. It's like the best invention, I think. So I'm going to start with 3 tomatoes, and I'm just going to cut them into slices, and you can slice them as thick or as thin as you want. I'm working with some really small tomatoes. These are the first tomatoes of the season. And since I'm the only one that eats caprese salad, I'm going to just do a little small one. So I have my first tomato sliced, but I'm going to go ahead and start my balsamic vinegar. And I'm just going to take about... go with 1/4 of a cup. When they're this small, you can go ahead and just cut them thick. Because it's just delicious, you guys. And I'm going to still use these, the tops of them. But I'm going to cut out the core piece from the top of the tomato. I don't like to waste delicious tomatoes. Okay, now these basil leaves, these came out of my garden. You want to have as many basil leaves as you do tomatoes if possible. Leaves. And this is mozzarella cheese. This cheese came from my farmer's market from Hemi Brothers Farm, or Hemi Farms. I don't know if it's Hemi Brothers Farms, but I think I'm making that up there. But I'm going to go ahead and just cut this into slices. And I'm going to have to go slow because this is a very soft cheese. And so when you cut the slices, they tend to want to kind of squish down. So the balsamic vinegar is boiling. So that is going to be kind of becoming a syrup here. All right. Tomato, basil, cheese. And just keep doing that until you're all done. You've used everything. Now that our balsamic vinegar has cooked down to a syrup, I'm just going to drizzle it on top of the salad. Joe upset Connor, that's all I'm going to say. Connor wanted to make a mess. Dad said no. Okay, we're almost done here. Okay, you guys, the caprese salad is all done. I'm so excited to show this to you. I cannot wait. And I'm gonna do this. Sorry, he's busy, so once again. This is the caprese salad. It's got your balsamic vinegar reduction, your mozzarella cheese, basil, and tomatoes. I'm so excited to eat it. As my dad would say, levity. Let's get this eaten. You can certainly grab the whole shebang here and just throw it in your mouth, and I think I'm going to do that right now. I've been waiting for this all season. Sorry. You guys, that's where it's at. All right, it is time to make our lemon vinaigrette dressing for our Frisee salad. Remember, we're doing 2 different salads. The first thing I'm gonna do, you don't need a blender for this if you don't want to. You can chop everything up and then kind of whisk it in a bowl if you want, but it's easier because of some of the ingredients to break down. So I am going to add about 1/4 of a cup juice of lemon, and I am going to add that right in to the blender. Here we go. That smells really good. Oops. All right. Watch those seeds too, guys. Okay. And then you want to get some balsamic vinegar. I'm using white balsamic vinegar. And unfortunately, there's really, unless I pour this into a measuring cup beforehand, this is the quickest way to get it in there. All right. And I didn't use quite 1/4 of a cup. but I can smell it. So it's good. 1 clove of garlic. 1 egg yolk. Stay with me. I have chopped up fresh oregano from my garden. We're going to add that. I'm going to add salt, just a little bit of salt. Don't want to go hog wild there. And then just a little bit of pepper also. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and blend this up now. Those are your ingredients. I may, depending on the flavor, I may add a couple of different herbs, but right now I'm just going to start with this. And you want to puree it until smooth. Watch that last pop there. Okay, I just want to taste it really quickly. I'm just going to taste it on my fork. Oh, that is good. Nope, I'm going to leave it. I think it's gorgeous. It tastes beautiful. It's just, the lemon is popping through. The vinegar is the word I'm looking for. The vinegar is just bold, and it brings out, it's almost like the lemon and the vinegar just sing in your mouth. It is a beautiful, beautiful union of 2 different flavors, and they are, my God, this is so good. Okay, I can't wait. I'm getting excited here, so let's move on. All right, and I told, this is technically endive. I have Frisee in the refrigerator, but it's kind of the same thing. It's just a little bit more mature than the other. These are a little bit too big for me. Okay, so I'm gonna just dress the salad in the bowl directly. Salad goes soggy, so you want to just dress what you're eating that night, and that's it. Okay, so this one is done. This, come on, this is what that looks like. It's all mixed together. Okay, okay. I'm just going to pour a very little bit onto the salad greens. And I'm just going to, with my hands, just kind of somewhat folded, I'm just going to fluff them. And I'm going to do Joe's now. Go ahead and put the vegetables that we'll be eating in our salads. Tonight, I'm only going to do something very minimalist with a salad because I really want to taste that dressing on the backdrop of the Frisee or endive, whichever you want to call it. It's pretty much the same thing, a little different, but pretty much the same thing. The English cucumber I'm using and these cherry tomatoes that I'm using all come from the farmer's market. It's a local farmer. I bought a lot of the things that I'm using tonight from the local farmers, including this egg. This egg is actually from a friend of mine who has a farm. He brought me some eggs, so we're going to use those too. For me, I'm going to do something very minimal. I have, nope, not zucchini. I have cucumber and cherry tomatoes in my salad with my Frisee and my lemon vinaigrette dressing. Joe wants to have an egg in his. Do you want them wedged or do you?
Either way.
Doesn't matter? Okay, I'm just going to wedge them on in there. That's cool. And I'm just going to cut them into wedges. Cut them into 4s is all you really need to do. You can cut them however you want. This is how we're doing it tonight. Since he is not a fan of cucumbers or tomatoes, he will have Kalamata olives and some pepperoncinis and some eggs. Okay. I'm gonna have a couple of couple of the olives and the pepperoncinis myself. Okay. All right, and then pepperoncinis. These are just sliced pepperoncinis. he wouldn't go for a whole one in his salad. All right, and feta cheese will go on last. All right. And there you have it. It's our Frisee salad. There's mine and there's Joe's. Mine's a little bit more colorful, but that's because of the tomatoes. And I'm excited to eat it. All right, we are almost ready for the zucchini. So I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting it up now. You just wanna take your zucchini and cut it into rings. Slices, I guess. I would do them medium, not too thin, not too thick, because you want them to cook in a relatively short amount of time. Here, listen, I want to give a shout out to my mom for this one, or my dad, really. It was his recipe, but my mom used to make it. And I love it so much. Connor loves it, Joe loves it, Connor, a baby loves it. So a 2-year-old loves this. And I love this. Somehow I noticed that this is way too hot. Let's turn this down. Okay. So I just want to give this a quick stir. And then we're going to add the zucchini. Just set this. There we go. Good enough for me. Good enough for you guys? Good enough for me. All right. And you don't have to do it any certain way other than to just kind of put it in there and spread them out. So, okay. Now we're going to stir them in because we want these to be covered in the sauce as well. All right. All right, so those are worked in pretty nicely. So now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and cover this. And we're going to cook it for an additional 20 to 30 minutes. In the meantime, we're going to get our linguine started. All right, so I have my pot of water. I just turned it on high heat because we want to get that boiling. I'm going to put a little bit of salt in here just to flavor the water. Let this come to a boil, and then we're going to add our linguine. It's almost ready, and while we're waiting on the pot of water to boil for the linguine, I'm going to slice up some basil to finish off our sauce with. So I have taken a few pieces of basil from my garden, and what you want to do is stack them together. I've already started to cut them, and then I decided, well, if you guys don't know how to cut basil properly, I'll teach you. So you just want to stack them together like that, and then roll them up into kind of like just like you would roll a leaf, same thing, and just start slicing. You want to lift your knife and come back down. If you do not do it this way, what will end up happening is you will get bruising on your basil. So you want to just cut it in what is called a chiffonade. All right. And then you just have these little like ribbons to pour all over your beautiful sauce and enjoy some added flavor. All right, so this is all ready. All right, our water is now boiling, so it's time to add a little bit of olive oil to the mix so that it doesn't stick together. Okay, and then I'm just going to add 1 whole box of linguine. 15 minutes maybe. We'll just keep checking it just to see how it's doing. I'm going to turn the heat down to medium high so that it doesn't boil over, but that it's still a rapid boil so that the pasta cooks. Okay, you guys, at this point, everything's about done. I'm getting ready to drain the pasta. So I'm just going to put, Caroline said that, pasta? I'm just going to turn the cold water on because I don't want that hot liquid just to go directly down my drain. And I did want to save about a cup of pasta water as well. So we'll start there. There's my pasta sauce, or liquid rather, with all my... Just so excited, you guys. I hope you try it. All right, these are done. This is what I'm talking about right here. That is deliciousness right there. Can you just see it? Oh, I hope so. I wasn't paying. I'm gonna give this just a taste real quick, just to make sure that the seasonings are good and I don't need to add anything. Okay, first thing first, a little bit more salt. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off now too. So a little bit more salt. It's very sweet actually. It tastes really, really good. And you guys, I don't think I told you guys this earlier, but you do want to stir your sauce occasionally so it doesn't stick, or to prevent sticking. Sometimes it does. That's the money right there. All right, now the final thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna add our basil that we chopped, and this is what it looks like up close. I'm gonna have to really work on my camera situation so you guys can see up close and personal all the things that I'm doing that I do from so far away. Just think it would be better. Okay, that is all in there and we are ready to serve. So this is your sauce all said and done. Basil and everything. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Perfect amount of seasonings. Perfect tomato flavor. The chicken's gonna be delicious. I just know it. I can already tell you guys because I've eaten this dish a gajillion times and there's no stopping me. I'm gonna keep going. All right, we are ready to plate and have dinner. Okay, please excuse the mess in my kitchen. This is messy, a messy, messy dish. All right, I can already tell that my pasta is beginning to stick together. And I did save some pasta water, so I'm just gonna pour this in here. Just a little bit, you don't wanna go crazy because we're not trying to boil it again. We just wanna break that up, but put enough in there to break up the whole pot and not just what's on top. Okay, that is good. So now, time for the grand finale. I am going to take my plate, take some pasta, put it on the plate, and then I am going to finish it off with a beautiful helping of chicken, the zucchini, and that sauce. I literally just had a fork. I found it. Okay. And now to taste all of this deliciousness, I just want to get a little bit of everything because that's just how I roll. Okay. Only thing I'm missing, mushroom. All right, ready? Oh, if I get it on the plate, there we go. They're really hot. They're so good. You guys, this is what dinner is all about. Home cooking. Eat. Connor says eat. Home cooking. Family dinners. Togetherness. That zucchini is still crisp, so it has a little bit of a bite. That chicken is so good. It just like melts in your mouth. The mushrooms just add a level of texture that's just beyond, you guys. Just beyond. Those onions, they give the flavor. You don't always get one in your dish, but you get that flavor behind it, and it's so good. And that finish with the basil, do it. Just do it. Do it, you guys. Absolutely. You have to try this. It's so delicious. I'm going to go eat this. But I want to tell you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you'll make this for your family, all three things. That caprese salad, yeah, I finished that while the pasta was cooking, and it was so good. And it just makes me want more. And on a brief note, before I go, I want to tell you guys about your local food. So it's very important to support your local farmers now more than ever. Food is in a dangerous position. Bees are endangered, and if we don't have any bees, we don't have any food. And that means cows. Cows eat alfalfa. Guess what? Bees pollinate. There you go. No bees equals no food. You guys support your local farmers. Go to your farmers market. It is a wonderful experience. You get to meet the people that make your food. You don't just go buy it in the grocery store, you know. Meet those people who put their blood, sweat, and tears into creating food for you. I do support your local farmers. Eat local. You guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much for stopping by and listening to my little speechy there. Speechy preachy over here. I'm all about the farmers market, I'll tell you. But thank you guys again. I appreciate it. You guys hit like, hit subscribe, and leave a comment if you want. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Connor's trying to get through. You guys, I'm going to let you go. But happy eating. Thanks again. Bye.